everyone, lcjensen here. Tonight we are going to cook up our 6 little mini sourdough loaves, all with a fun different flavor. And then we are going to make a steak stir fry with snow peas, green peppers, and some Spam fried rice. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it's delicious. Okay, let's get our mini sourdoughs up and going. So I've got 6 mini Dutch ovens, and we're gonna get our sourdoughs going in here. So this one looks like it's my mini chocolate chip loaf. So last night I put my inclusions in them last night. And now we're gonna score them, and we'll put them each in their own little Dutch oven. So, and I'm hoping they turn out better than last time now that I have my little mini Banneton bowls. So I'm making sure I'm getting a good score on these. There we go. And these were in the oven at 500 for the last hour, so they are very, very hot. We're going to transfer them in, and we'll put our lids back on. And now we're going to do that with our next loaf. Well, actually, maybe we'll see if this goes a little bit faster. We'll flip them out. This one looks like it's my Italian herbs and cheese. Ooh, maybe this is cinnamon raisin. It's kind of a hard guess, have to look at it. It's either cinnamon raisin or, yes, I can see the cinnamon on it. But aren't they so cute?
You have a question. Are these 6 different loaves?
They are 6 different rows. I got a little carried away last night at midnight. That's when my lack of sleep kicks in. And I decided to do, I have one that's just plain, and then the rest are 6 different inclusions. So one's a cinnamon roll one's a cinnamon raisin. I got Italian spices and Parmesan cheese. Yes, and this one's my plain. So yeah, 5 different inclusions because one is just my plain Jane. And then the others all have something different. And then this last one is my blueberry lemon loaf. But they're so cute. So I figured, why not? If I have to go through the process of laminating them all anyways. There we go. Perfect. So I figured might as well score them first and then do like a little, so I'm only taking off. And much easier to score than when I did them on my parchment paper alone, when I didn't have the mini Bannetons. So at least that's good. We're gonna do, I'm just doing the crisscross on all of them because they are a little, they drag a bit more than the big loaf because I guess there's a lot less surface area. But they turned out really well last time, so I'm hoping with the inclusions they'll turn out good because that will be delicious. Okay, we've got these all scored, and then we're going to add them in. And what I did is I just took my parchment paper and cut them in little squares to put them in. That way you won't burn yourself. They lift in fairly easy. I tried to be as equal as possible when dividing the dough, but there was one at the end that was much larger than the rest. I probably should have gotten a scale out for it, but
what's your favorite one?
I'm thinking the blueberry lemon will be my favorite one this time, although I am a savory girl, and the Italian Parmesan one may also be mine. Plus the OG, you can't beat the OG. I don't know. I love bread. It's my Achilles heel. So I just, all breads, delicious. Okay, let's go put these guys in the oven. Now, I can imagine this tray is quite heavy because there are 6 mini Dutch ovens on here. We're gonna pop them in. There we go. And then we are going to keep them at 500. We're gonna set the timer for 20 minutes. Then we're gonna take off the lids. And last time I cooked them for 10, this time I think I wanna cook them for 12, just a pinch longer because I want a little bit more golden crust on them. So now let's get our dinner ready. Okay. Let's peel up some carrots and we're gonna chop up some onions so we can start sauteing them for our Spam fried rice, and then we'll get our meat ready for our steak and snow peas and kind of a stir fry with it. Now, you may be thinking, Spam fried rice, that's weird. It is delicious. I had never had Spam before, like a couple years ago. But we were getting these like Yum boxes or Universal boxes. I can't remember what they were, but they were from like different countries or different places. And we had a Hawaiian one. And apparently they make fried rice with Spam in it there. And so I made the dish and it became like my family's favorite. So I have been making Spam fried rice ever since, and it's delicious.
You have two questions about the Dutch ovens. Where did you get them, and did you get them recently, or have you had them for a while?
I got them from Target. They were part of the Joanna Gaines collection. They're like $10, super cheap. And I got them in the fall. Well, okay, it's funny. I got them 4 of them in the previous fall, and then they were re-released this fall again, and I bought 4 more. So I have 8 of them. Because my idea was, oh, everyone will have individual Dutch oven meals, which is not practical, guys. But for mini sourdoughs, they are great. So I bet you probably could find them on like Target online. Like they're like things. A lot of times they have extra stock there, so you could probably find them there. And they were actually really well priced. I believe they were $9.99, and they've held up. I've used them. I've baked them in a couple of times. Okay, we're gonna chop up our carrots pretty, small. These are gonna go into our fried rice, so you don't want it too big. And then let's get our onion. We're gonna use half of it in our Spam fried rice and half of it in our saute veggies and steak. We're gonna take off. Looks like we got a little bruise that we need to cut off. There we go. And then I'm going to do again, we'll just cut off a little bit of it, kind of mince it a little bit smaller, and then we'll start sauteing them up until they're nice and kind of brown. I like to saute up my vegetables for a good minute before we throw in the rice and stuff like that. Just makes them a little bit better. Okay. Let's move these boxes off. Got my eggs. We're going to turn on my burner over here. We're going to add a little bit of oil. So it's a big burner, or it's a big container. So you just want probably, I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons in here because it is such a big pan. If you have a smaller pan, you can use less. And we're going to throw our veggies in. We're going to let them start to saute. Okay. And let's get our other veggies prepped, and then we'll get our steak prepped. So for our stir fry, we are going to have onions, some green onions, snow peas, and green peppers that we'll saute up. And I'm just going to do kind of little chunks about that big for the onion pieces. And then I find now most of the time I kind of steer clear of green peppers. I think they're a bit more bitter, but I do like them in a stir fry. I like the more bitterness with it. I think it makes it a bit more savory than sweet peppers. And I do love shishito peppers, but this one's kind of a different meal than what I kind of like a week or 2 ago we made a shishito pepper stir fry. So we're gonna do kind of like a loose chop similar to our onions on our peppers. There we go. So this is kind of like a hybrid between like pepper steak and like the beef snow pea dish. It's like a mix. It'll be delicious. There we go. And let me grab a little bowl to put these in. Well, we can start actually. No, I want to saute up my meat first. I like to saute the meat up first, and then we'll throw it back in towards the end with the vegetables once they're sauteed up so that they'll all be mixed together. And add this bit of onion I left to the side in there as well. And then we have some green onions here. I'm going to put the whiter parts of the green onions in the stir fry, and the top parts are going to go in the fried rice.
You have a question. What cut of meat?
We are going to be using 2 New York strips. So I think it was Sunday, maybe we had New York strips for dinner. And again, I buy mine in big packs from Costco. So we had 2 big steaks left over, which are great for doing like a stir fry because you'll cut the meat really thin and it will just cook up really well. Whew. These green onions are a bit astringent. I can feel them burning in my eyes. Normally green onions aren't like that. I mean, it could be the white onions as well, or the yellow onions. So the white parts again are going to go over into our our stir fry mix. And then let's give this a little shake. There we go. And we'll get these nice and chopped up. I'm going to add these in, not right away. I want the onions and the carrots to saute up a little bit first before I add these in. There we go. Those onions are strong. There we go. We'll add these in now. Whew. Okay. And we're going to also cut up our Spam, and then we'll get to our steak. So, good old can of Spam. I know this seems so weird, but don't knock it till you try it. It is actually delicious. Who ever knew? I always made fun of Spam growing up, but it is delicious. You're going to cube it up as if it's ham. It's really salty, but it adds a really nice kind of, I don't know, savory kick to the stir fry that, it's almost like a pork belly or a bacon, but a little bit different, and it's so delicious. And again, I had never had it. We tried it, and everybody in my family, and that is very rare for everybody, including my parents. So we had 9 people say they love this.
Your chat's blown up. Everybody loves Spam.
Okay, good. It is such a weird ingredient, but and so many people, you've either had it or you haven't, and it is delicious. There we go. So we've got them cubed up. Let's give these a quick toss, and then I'm going to saute them in here with my onions and my carrots as well. Give them a nice little crispy edge on them. There we go. Give them a little stir. So we have our Spam in here with our onions and our peppers, our onions and our green onions and our carrots. And this is going to be kind of like the veggie and meat base for our fried rice. Okay, now let's get our 2 strips sauteed up. Or we'll get them cut up and marinated. Now, since we're not searing this up, you do want to cut off the fat part of the New York strip. That will just turn rubbery in your stir fry. So just cut it off, because you'll be just chewing it. It doesn't add anything other than a rubbery texture. So just try to get as close to that fat as possible and then cut it off. Don't worry about the marbled fat in there. That's fine. That will be tender. But the big old fat strip on the side of a New York strip is just too chewy. You'll just have grizzle. There we go. And now I'm actually going to switch to my cleaver for this because a cleaver gives me a much better cut. So, and I'm just going to do really thin slices because I want it to cook up fairly fast. So we'll do a quick sear on it, then we're going to remove the meat, and then we'll saute up the vegetables. That way it will be nice and tender. And our goal is to not necessarily cook it through all the way, but to cook it at a high enough temperature that when we take it out, it will continue to cook it to a nice juicy, medium rare or medium, however you like it. We'll do ours kind of like medium rare. But you just want to do a really fast cook on it and then take it out and let it sit, and then you'll throw it back into your stir fry at the very end. There we go. But I mean, 2 steaks give you a good amount of meat. Let's give this a little stir.
You have a question? Have you ever made an egg roll?
I have made egg rolls before, and I will say, they weren't fantastic. I haven't made them since then. This one time when I was in high school, my mom and I decided, it was like in fine cooking, they had this big Asian cuisine, and we were going to recreate it. And so we went to like the Asian market here. We picked out all the ingredients, and I think we made egg rolls, dim sum, Buddha's delight, and then a stir fry and a couple of other things. My mom was in charge of a couple things. All of her things turned out awful, by the way. I think she just had bad recipes. But we made a couple of things, and the dim sum turned out great. And I've made those a couple of times since then. The egg rolls were just, I couldn't get the right tenderness on the vegetables without also making them too soggy for the egg roll. So I haven't really done much of that since then. But that weekend, it was funny because we were cooking up this amazing feast. My brother was coming in town from college, and then his girlfriend broke up with him. So I just remember us sitting at this table. This is my mom's table that seats like 20 people. We had this crazy feast, and my brother's like crying his eyes out, and it was so bad. Like only like 2 of the dishes were really edible, and I have not recreated egg rolls since then because it's just stuck in my mind. Okay, I'm gonna put in a splash more olive oil because we got a little. There we go. Maybe like a teaspoon more. There, because sometimes I just don't want it to stick to the pan too much. And I'm going to turn my heat down to about a medium. Let's see. My arm, my sleeve. Okay, let's get our meat. We're going to put it in our bowl. We're going to give it a simple marinade. You don't want to have it in too wet of a marinade, or it's going to get soggy. And when you saute it up. Let me get my hands a quick wash. Okay. So we're going to use a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. About a tablespoon. This is just going to give a little acidity to it. Will help keep the steak really tender. We're going to put in a little bit of Japanese barbecue sauce. Love this stuff. About, I want to say maybe a tablespoon or so. A little bit of onion powder, about a teaspoon and a half. We're going to do about a teaspoon of garlic salt. You don't need much because you have the Japanese barbecue sauce in there, so that will have a good little flavor to it and a bit of saltiness. And then some black pepper, about a half a teaspoon. And then we'll put in a little bit of garlic.
You have a question? Is that sauce vinegary?
No, it's like a sweet soy sauce, and it is delicious. I use it on all of my like teriyaki stuff. It is not vinegary at all. I use a little bit of the Worcestershire, which has some vinegar in it, to give a little acidity to make the meat tender. But this is just a sweet soy sauce that is a thicker one. Okay, let's give this guy a little stir. We're gonna just coat it up. Again, you don't want a super wet marinade because when I saute it up in the pan, I don't want it to sweat too much because I want a nice kind of crispy sear on my meat. There we go. Okay, and now you can put some olive oil in here. We're gonna use up the rest of this bottle. I've got another one, but to get through it all. And then I'm going to turn on my pan and we're going to let it heat up nice and hot. Once it's hot, we'll throw our meat in, but you don't want to throw it in until it's got a nice hot sear on it. Okay, we've got our veggies and our Spam here crisping up. Now, what I like to do is about 1 egg per person.
Got a request for them to see the soy sauce?
Yes. So this is the Japanese barbecue sauce. It's delicious. You can buy it at most grocery stores. You can get it at Costco, Publix, Target, Kroger. So it's everywhere.
Once you try it, you won't go.
Yeah, it is delicious. It's my favorite. Get the original. They make a yuzu one, a spicy one, a sweet one. The original is the best. Okay. So we're going to fry up our eggs. What I'm just doing is scooping all of my meat and veggies to one side, and then I use an egg per person for the most part. We're going to get a little bit of butter here. I always like to fry my eggs in butter. So just about like a teaspoon of butter or so. There we go. We're going to let it melt, kind of fill it around, and then I'm just going to crack my eggs, and we're going to just do a quick scramble on it on one side of the pan. No need to make a lot of dishes. So we're going to use 7 eggs tonight because I didn't want to use any more because eggs are expensive. But I typically do about an egg per person, and since we have 7 eating tonight, and if there are leftovers, they'll go to my parents. But although I don't know, Torrin was already calling for the leftovers. He's like, can you put it in my lunch tomorrow for school? And I was like, we'll see. He's like, you can just put it in the thermos. He loves this meal. Okay, we've got our eggs. Put this right over here. And then we'll do a quick little scramble on them. So just poke them. And there we go. And I just keep them on one side, and then we'll mix everything together. But I find if you try to scramble them in with the veggies, then you don't get big chunks of eggs. And everybody in my family likes to get the big chunks of eggs in their stir fry versus like little bits. Okay. There we go. Let's see. You should be getting hot soon. Let's do a sizzle test. We've got about a minute before we need to take the lids off of ours. There we go. We got a nice sizzle. So that's when you know your skillet is nice and hot. And then I'm going to transfer these to our pan, and we're going to give them a nice sear. Don't crowd your pan too much. So if they don't all fit, just do it in 2 batches. Because what you want is a nice kind of crispy sear on each piece versus them to get like all in their juices. Okay, so we've got these. We'll get a plate or a bowl to transfer them into. And then at the very end, we'll toss them back into our stir fry with our veggies. But I don't like to cook them up and then add the veggies in. I like to take them out so that you don't overcook them. You don't want really tough meat. You want it to still be tender and delicious. And I will say ribeyes also work really great for stir fries too. It's always just a nice way of when I get a big pack of steaks at Costco, like we can't eat the whole 5 in one sitting, you know, so it's a nice way to use some for a completely different meal. Okay, we've got our eggs here. Almost to a thing. We're gonna wait until they've kind of all dried up and then we'll combine it all together. Then we're gonna add in our sticky rice for our fried rice. Okay. Let's give this a quick toss and then we're gonna go take our lids off of our things. We'll flip these over. Steak overboard. Okay. And that way we'll be ready to take them out for the next batch. Okay. This is always the fun part. So it'll be easier for me to take the whole thing out because we're going to remove all 6 lids.
You got a question? Can you make spaghetti and meatballs next time?
I just made spaghetti and meatballs a couple days ago, but the video is uploaded on our page. So you can definitely watch it there. We made jumbo meatballs. These guys are very, very hot, but oh, they look beautiful. You can come in and see this is our blueberry lemon. This is our oatmeal raisin chocolate, or our cinnamon raisin chocolate chips, cinnamon, Italian herbs, and regular. I think I did good. Now we're gonna pop these in the oven. We're gonna turn our temperature down to 400 or 450, and we're gonna bake them. I'm gonna do it for 12 minutes now. Let's see, so we're gonna cancel, oven, 450, and then we're gonna put the timer on for 12. Last time I did it for 10, but I think they could go a little bit longer. So there we go. Okay. Let's get our stir fry. This is our first batch off.
I got a question. Have you ever put strawberries inside of it?
I have done a strawberries and lemon peel one before, but I didn't use fresh strawberries. I used dried strawberries because strawberries are kind of tricky because they sweat so much that they can leave like soggy patches. So I've only ever done it with freeze dried. Okay, we're gonna put our second batch in. There we go. It's the same with raspberries. Freeze-dried raspberries work really well. Fresh raspberries, it's like, so I've done it once with fresh raspberries and it was okay. But the freeze-dried raspberries worked out a little bit better.
Yeah, 2 questions. Do you prefer sweet or savory bread? And on Thanksgiving, do you do the whole meal?
I typically prefer savory bread because I'm a salty person. I'm a salty girl. I love my salty stuff. And on Thanksgiving, yes, I do all the cooking, though my family has a little bit of a weird tradition. We get what we call pickin' turkeys. So we have somebody who delivers 3 pickin' turkeys, which are our weird little appetizers before Thanksgiving. And they're smoked or deep fat fried turkeys. And everybody just picks on them. It's really weird. And then I make 2 turkeys for the rest of us to eat. Because again, this is like 40, 50 people and all of the sides and everything. So yes, I do make everything Thanksgiving, but I do have help from my siblings. We started kicking my mom out of the kitchen. It's a little bit easier without her in it. We let her rest and watch the grandchildren. Okay. We're going to put in a little bit more butter in the middle, and then we're going to add our sticky rice. So about another tablespoon. You don't need to go too crazy on the butter because it crisps up nice without it. Where's my scissors? There we go. So this is the best stuff ever. It's just in the freezer aisle. It's sticky white rice. You can't beat it, especially for making fried rice because you want to use like day-old rice for fried rice. Otherwise, it gets mushy. Love this stuff. And then we're just going to give it a good stir.
Yeah, question. Do you make broccoli casserole?
I do not make a lot of casseroles. So I have never made a broccoli casserole before. Although I will say, when I was in Ireland for my brother's wedding, his his wife's family made this delicious curried broccoli casserole. And I will say, it was the best thing I had ever had. It was so good. Hence, I'm still talking about it, 15, 16, 17 years later? It was really delicious. But I think that was the only broccoli casserole I've ever had. I don't make a lot of casseroles. I think it's because I didn't grow up eating casseroles. And so I just never really made them because I first started out kind of cooking what I had growing up and then got a little bit more bougie and stuff like that. Okay. Kind of cooking what I had growing up and then got a little bit more bougie and stuff like that. Okay. Take a quick flip. There we go. Getting some nice little sears on them. Beautiful. And this is our New York strip that we marinated, and it's going to go for our stir fry. And we're going to saute up our vegetables in just a second.
What kind of rice was that you put?
It is sticky rice that I got from the freezer aisle. It's called Innovation. I will say they get an A+ for marketing. But it's just like it's right next to the frozen vegetables in the freezer aisle. And P.F. Chang's has a version of it too that is also really good. I just buy whatever one's on sale. And it is delicious. It is great if you want it as just rice. It's great in fried rice. It's better than any rice I can make at home, I'll tell you that. I cannot, unless you have a nice rice cooker, making sticky rice is hard. It just never turns out. I mean, I can make rice, it's just not as good. Okay, let's turn this guy off. We're going to move this meat over, and then we're going to add this in at the very end with our veggies. But we're going to keep our good little drippings in here. Let me grab a little bit more olive oil since I'm out of that one. I swear olive oil is something I feel like I buy gallons and gallons of because I use it for everything.
What was the meat marinated in?
So I marinated it in Worcestershire sauce, Japanese barbecue sauce, garlic, salt, garlic, onion powder, and black pepper. So it has those Asian kind of flavors to it, but like a savory one. We're going to add in our vegetables that we chopped up. These are our onions, peppers, and green onions. We're going to give them a quick saute, and then we'll add in our snow peas. I do love some snow peas. There we go. Let's come over here, check out our fried rice, give it a good stir. We'll season it up in just a little bit. I like to make sure it gets heated up all the way through.
What setting is the fried rice on?
I have my fried, I had it on a 6 and I'm now turning it down to a 4. I like to crisp it up a little bit, and then at the very end, I kind of do a slower cook on it to keep it warm. Okay. Now here's what's going to make your fried rice pop. Yes. I love this stuff. Japanese barbecue sauce. And you're just going to you don't need to go too crazy, but just give it a good squirt. And then a little shake of garlic salt. And voila. It's so delicious. And it gives you almost like, that's what I said, everybody says this tastes as close to hibachi fried rice as you can get. And it's the switching out soy sauce for the Japanese barbecue sauce. It gets you a different flavor profile. It's not as salty. It has that mildly like kind of sweet undertone to it. And it's just delicious. Okay. We're going to keep that nice on low. I'll stir it now every so often. You want to cook your peppers and your onions kind of on a high heat so you get that nice kind of crispy saute on them. So you still have that nice kind of fresh flavor as if you were imitating a wok. The only thing is I do have woks, but if you have an electric stove, woks do not work on them because you really need the fire in a gas stove to go around it. But I was gifted some woks, and so they just sit there. They're actually great for camping. I use my woks on camping versus here because they're great to cook over a fire with it. Okay. Beautiful. Let's add in our snow peas. And then I have one more bag. And if you could also use snap peas. If you use snap peas, you'll want to blanch them first because they're a bit tougher. Snow peas are really tender, so they're really great for stir fries. But if you want, you can also use snow peas.
Yeah, question. Have you gone through all of the bananas yet?
We did. Well, I ended up throwing away the last 3 because the bottom one molded, and then I was like, okay, I did my best. So out of the, let's see, the 6 bundles, I got through all but 3. So I think I did a pretty good job. Let's see what got 2-3 minutes left on that, which is perfect because I think we're going to be all ready at just the right time. It's always nice when it comes out perfectly. There we go. And now for our vegetables. As you're going to see a theme here, our Japanese soy sauce to the rescue.
And what fruit tonight?
Fruit, we'll have, I have pineapple in the fridge that we cut up, and then they'll either have raspberries, blueberries, or strawberries with it. Got a little on me. Okay. And then we put our Japanese barbecue sauce in, a little bit of garlic salt, and a little bit of black pepper. There we go. So it's actually really simple because I will say the hero of this dish is the Japanese barbecue sauce. I remember the first time I tried it, it wasn't this brand. It was a different one. It was something my brother-in-law showed me, and I could only buy it online. And then I saw this, and I tried this in the store, and I actually like this one better. But they are delicious. Okay. I'm going to turn that one down. Give this all one more toss. And then we're going to add our steak back into our stir fry and give it a little toss here. There we go. There, perfect. So you see those 2 leftover steaks actually yield a lot of meat, which is perfect for a stir fry so that, they're not eaten just on their own. Okay. We've got about 20 seconds left on that, so let me clear this area up so that we can take our little mini ones out.
And how many people are you feeding tonight?
We are feeding 7 tonight, but I want leftovers for my parents. They have like a late night thing, so they couldn't come and join us tonight, but they always want leftovers. So I should say we're always cooking for 9. Okay. I'll turn that off, and let's go get those. They are beeping. Turn you off. And they are looking gorgeous. Okay. We have our delicious mini sourdoughs. I'm going to get another cutting board to put them on because I do like to take them out of the Dutch ovens because they continue to cook. So it's really important that you remove them as quick as possible so your bottoms don't continue to cook. But again, we have our gorgeous ones. So this one right here, peel it out. This is our blueberry lemon sourdough. You can see those blueberries popping. This is, it looks like our cinnamon one. Our Italian herbs and Parmesan cheese. Look at that Parmesan pop. This is our cinnamon raisin. This is our plain Jane traditional loaf. And this one, oh, don't run away from me. Okay, we're gonna have to do some surgery to get this guy out. This is our chocolate chip loaf. Okay, again from the top, now that we have them all here, we have our blueberry lemon loaf with lemon zest and fresh blueberries. This is our cinnamon roll where we put cinnamon and sugar in the middle of it. Italian herbs and Parmesan cheese. Cinnamon sugar and raisins for a cinnamon raisin loaf, our plain traditional loaf, and then a mini chocolate chip loaf for our cute little mini sourdough loaves. Aren't they just precious? It's a great way we turn that one recipe, our one loaf of traditional sourdough, we did the base of it, we made it into 6 mini loaves, and you have all the different flavors. But let's serve up dinner. Okay, so crazy, I know, but everyone's favorite, our Spam fried rice with lots of eggies in it. And then we have our snow pea, green pepper, and New York strip stir fry to go on for a delicious dinner. So this is our Spam fried rice. You can see the chunks of Spam in it with our eggs and carrots and onions. And then we have our leftover New York strips where we marinated them in our Japanese barbecue sauce with snow peas, green peppers, and onions for a delicious, easy stir fry dinner. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I try to do live cooking shows every single day, show you what I'm feeding my family, hopefully teach you guys something along the way. Again, we do upload all of our videos to the link on our page, so you can always rewatch and cook from there. And we also have a membership if you want extra recipe cards, exclusive videos, and just more stuff about our family. But again, thank you so much for joining us here. Don't forget to like and subscribe.